You are with episode 70, and I hope you're having a very fantastic day today. Great news here for all of us in New Zealand. We've had a small lockdown nationwide with level 3 lockdown in Auckland for the last 3 days, but it was so great that everything is under control and we were pretty much back to normal here as of first thing this morning. So that is excellent news. The only sad news, of course, is the massive Art Deco Festival here in Hawke's Bay was cancelled. However, I am pleased to report that pretty much almost all customers that have been in so far this morning are in full Art Deco regalia. So there are so many people here in the Bay who travelled to visit for Art Deco, who love Art Deco, and they're just getting into the swing of it anyway. And if you are one of those and you are here in the Bay this weekend, do come and visit us. We would love to see you. And this weekend is a perfect time to come and visit us here at our Skeinz shop, because we have got the wonderful Lynn Walsh here doing a pop-up shop tomorrow and Saturday. So that's tomorrow and Saturday during our normal opening hours. So tomorrow is 10 to 3:30, Saturday from 10 to 1. And she will be bringing all her beautiful hand-dyed yarns and hand-dyed fibre for spinning, and I adore Lynn stuff. In fact, I've got a sort of mini stash by my desk, and these these are 3 of her yarns that I bought in the past that I just literally happened to have there. I just love Lynn stuff. So if you are wanting some gorgeous indie dyed, hand dyed deliciousness, you need to come and see us this weekend. Even if you're just a simple car journey away, pop down and see us and come and check out what Lynn has. So as I said, she'll be here tomorrow and Saturday. So we're really excited about that. And the great news, of course, about that, and I hope everyone's been able to hear me because I've just realised the microphone was halfway across the desk. The great news about that, of course, is that Lynn was actually out of Auckland when the lockdowns happened. She was already doing it in the middle of a wee road trip, which was great. She had all her stuff together. So, yes, can't wait for that. In fact, she's coming in this afternoon to set up. Yay! Oh, it's the little things. It's the little things that excite you. Speaking of the little things that excite you, as you can see, and I just realised the top that I wore today, I actually wore this top with my Rebel over the top. So, and I just suddenly realised not the best colour combination today, but I'm finished. Deb from Outlaw can attest, we were in a Skype yesterday and I was literally going hammer and tongs to get this done. Wanted to get this done. So I'm going to show off all the little details that I have in here, and it will give you an idea of what I have done for the project. I'm really delighted with it. It's actually going to go, I'll put it on display here so everyone can see it, but it's nice to actually do a large scale item in the pulse yarn so you can actually see how the yarns change with the different sizes. And this is a really great example of it because you've got stitches going in different directions, stitches on different circumferences, and you can actually see where the colors change. So a little bit around the decision making of why I chose the colors that I did. I deliberately chose Pulse Ripple. And the reason I chose Pulse Ripple is because this was one of 2 shades that, as you can see, had the most diverse selection of colours in it, from everything from sort of quite sort of marley shades there through to much softer sort of what I call sort of softer pastel tones there, all the way through to these much lighter tones here, and everything in between. And believe me, I feel like I've knitted all of them in this project. So what I did want to do is I did want to do a contrast colour to hopefully pull everything together. So I chose the Flight Merino in Dragonfly, and it's just this blue is awesome. It is so awesome. It is what I call the ultimate everyday blue. It will go, there is nothing that this blue will not go with. It is a great blue. And so that's why I put it together with that, because I just knew it didn't matter what colour that, good catch, what colour that Pulse threw up, this would work. And it wouldn't detract from it. So that was my reasoning behind the colour. So I'm going to do my, hopefully I don't crunch the chairs too much, but oh no, very good. So there we go. So I've deliberately done it a longer length this time. Usually I would do my Miss Jane's to almost just below waist length. And because I wear a lot of my Miss Janes with maxi dresses, many of you know I do have 1,000,001 maxi dresses. But in this particular instance, I thought, no, I wanted something a little bit longer because I do wear stuff like this, like tops and trousers. So I have gone and done that. And I've done it so it does sort of finish through this portion here. Now, as you can see, the yarn goes, there we go, in 2 different directions. And that was the other reason why I chose this design, is because I wanted to be able to show off the stripes. So as you can see, it's quite striped through this portion here, but the sleeve is vastly more subtle because of the circumference difference. So it's a much more subtle sleeve. And I haven't even bothered trying to match these up in the slightest. Didn't even bother, because I thought ultimately in a quest for matchy perfection, all I'm going to end up is not being able to do it, and I would get frustrated. So I just literally threw caution to the wind and kept going. And it's fun. It's really, really fun. So some of the detailing that I did, and I'm going to take this off so I can show it to you. And I've mentioned this before. So the Miss Jane pattern has this moss stitch border. And then Georgie has her own lace panel that she does through the centre here. Now, I haven't done that. I have done my own feather and fan panel through there. So what I did for consistency for the design, I put the feather and fan panel in there. Then I repeated the feather and fan panel at the bottom there. And then on the sleeve, I did a much thicker feather and fan panel there on the sleeve. And it just sort of kind of helps tie the whole thing together, really. If you're after that feather and fan panel for modifications, I do that in my Ever After cowl. If you go to Ravelry, look me up. The Ever After cowl is a free cowl pattern, and the beautiful thing about that, it's a really basic feather and fan pattern. That's it's nothing that I've come up with. It's been around for, that variation of feather and fan is probably older than I am. In fact, I think I may have even pulled it. I think I pulled it out of a really old Montreux Stitch dictionary 1,000,000 years ago, and actually dropped out. There was a garter stitch row, and I dropped those 2 rows out. So that's where I found it, I think. But we're talking a decade plus ago. And the basic rule of thumb with that particular pattern is it needs to be a multiple of 12. So as long as you've got a multiple of 12 stitches, you're good to go. So when it came to doing the decreasing for the arm, I did actually leave this arm. I didn't do a slim fitting arm here. And I also knew that I quite like a sort of a bigger cuff. See, that's sort of got a bigger cuff. If you wanted this cuff more fitted, because of the nature of the feather and fan, you could actually drop down a needle size here if you wanted. I've kept it the same needle size because that's what I preferred. But to be honest with you, you could have, I've done this on a 4mm, you could have comfortably dropped that down to actually even a 3mm, and that would have actually given you a tapered sleeve. So if you wanted a tapered sleeve, you could definitely do that. To be honest, if I wanted to do that, it would be no challenge to unravel that and redo it. For me, as I said, I'm quite happy with that. So for me, I won't bother doing that. Yes, but other than that, it is good to have it done. So what I've been looking at this morning has been, I want to do some baby knitting. So I've gone through a lot of the vintage books, but I'm wanting to do a DK baby knit because that's, it's quick and simple, and I'm right into these at the moment. So, and we've got some leftovers. Actually, this is some leftovers from our shift cowl, and I thought, well, waste not, what not. We'll use some leftovers. And what I think I will do, and I haven't even pulled it up. I'm gonna, oopsie, close that. You don't want to see that. I pulled up from the archive. See, no, I should have been more, but there we go. Pulled up from the archive. I went through a whole bunch of the vintage patterns, and one of the things I did do, and I'm going to show you some things that I did actually, is some knits that I did for my kids back in the day. And I just said to Claire, I said, oh gosh, I used to do a lot of baby knitting. But of course, that was back in the days when I had babies, so that's what you did, and so I think, I may end up still using one of those designs. And a lot of it is a variance of what I used to do. But this is what I think I will do. Well, I may even do a couple of these. This is Conscious by Kelly Van Niekerk from Peka Peka Design Studio. And Kelly is a fantastic New Zealand-based designer who has been doing awesome children's knits for years. We've got a number of her patterns here in store. But what I loved about this, and that's a really great image there to show you, what I loved about this is that it was a design. I think she did a book called, I think it was called the Stash ebook from memory. And there you go. And what she did is she designed it to use up those bits and pieces that you had left. And as soon as I saw that instantly, with that really lovely top down, it just instantly spoke that you could do something like this. Something like this, which is the, let me jump over here so you can see a wee bit better. There we go. Which is the pulse. And then pull together your solid colour underneath. And you could use whatever you've got in stash. You could use some new yarns. If you've bought some of the new vintage yarns while they've been on special this month, any of these would be perfect. And I sort of thought, and that pattern came out. When did that cat pattern come out? It's been around a while. A number of you probably already have this in your libraries. Let's have a look. Kelly, July 2015. So, it's been around 6 years, but it's an absolute little sitter. And I was just like, that is such a great pattern. So that's one option that I'm thinking of. This is another option. And, there's your hat, Charles. So this is my page here. So this is all the baby knits. Now, I will be brutally honest with you, I've been a bit slack. A number of my latest projects haven't actually hit Ravelry. I just keep forgetting to update it. But I went through and I had a look at some of these and I thought, I haven't done baby knitting for a while. And in fact, the last baby knitting I did, as you can see, which says the Coe's Lily, that was for my niece. Well, she's now 3.5. So it's, as you can see, it's been a while between drinks. And I went through, and actually, I think this is some of Kelly's work here. This is Quaintly, which is also from Peka Peka. But I had lots of fun with a whole variety of these sort of little top-down sort of cardigans. And a lot of these are, I just made these up. I'm a shocker. Like, I remember when I did that and I looked at it and I thought, what pattern did I use? And then I went back and I thought, I didn't use a pattern. Vintage me. That's classic. Yes. Did I write it down? Probably not. But one of the things that I love about these little top-down cardigans, and I will actually be able to go and figure out what I've gone and done, but is that these sorts of yarns to create that kind of effect, just doing something a bit different. So that one was using, and you probably recognize that's Orb DK. I made that when we first had Orb had come out. But this was another one. I did these. I think, again, these are, one is Orb and one is Vintage. And I did these when I had, so let's have a look. So I did those. I'm thinking, let's pop this up here so you can get a better look at that. So one of those, one of them is Orchid, which is the one in the foreground. And the coloured yarn that's with it is actually a homespun. that I did when I first started spinning. Gosh, this is almost like, honestly, a yarn nostalgia. It's like looking through an old photo album, isn't it? So that's what that is. And the other one is definitely vintage, and it was a color that we initially did. It was very short-lived. I think, in fact, it was predated going online. And in fact, the turmeric that we now have in the vintage abroad is this color. So it was one that we had way back at the beginning, way back at the beginning. And it only ever did, I think, probably a 6 kilo sample vat, and then we didn't do it again. And the yarn that's paired with it, I remember, is a sample, a hand-dyed sample, like a play around sample that we had in the shop. But it just, see, these pulse yarns. So I'm thinking I might also go, this might actually whip a couple of these back up again as well, because they sort of, yeah, it's just, it's fun. It is so fun. Charles is saying he loves, thank you, Charles, that you like. Honestly, Charles, I did these so long ago. But I mean, you must be the same. You must look back at your body of work and go, gosh, I barely remember doing that. And these felt that way as well. Now these are what I wanted to show you, and you could probably see these here. So then I went through what I call a, and I think this is this one here, a Felipe phase. Yeah, so I'm going to show you this. So this is Felipe by Hohi Locatelli. Now, I think this is a free pattern on Ravelry, Felipe. I'm pretty certain. And this one here is a mixture of Noro at the top, and this is Southlander that I had. And again, this is stashed up. And again, perfect. It's amazing how much of the sort of stash bustery stuff I used to do. I used to have all these scraps lying around, and I think, oh, I'll do that, and I'll use that up. Whoopsie daisies. As you can see, there's another one there. Now, but this is the one that I wanted. I'm going to head down a little bit further here. So this is one I'm going to show you, because this is a pattern. This pattern here is one that is out of a Cleckheaton book that I've got. And if you remember in the Skeinz Diaries, the Quarantine Diaries, rather, I did a session on a lot of the baby knitting that, no, I'm good, thank you, a lot of the baby knitting that I had. And I showed you a book of, I think it was called 8 Simple Baby Knits by Cleckheaton, which I've still got at home. It literally is falling to pieces, and the bits keep coming out of it. I have loved and used that pattern so much. Oh, thank you, Suzanne, for putting Conscious up for me. Charles, so Maree, baby clothes, are you telling us something? Oh, Charles, you should know at my age I won't be telling you anything. Charles, no, I've got a few people in my world that are having babies, one of which is the vet nurse, which I know quite well, and I'm spending a lot of time at the vets at the moment, and I'm very fond of this particular vet nurse, and I want to use it. And Jeanette is saying, I love the Pepin Baby Chocolat. Oh, thank you. That's one of mine. And actually, those jackets that I showed you is what was the precursor to Baby Chocolat. So, which is why I know that I can go back and do those little cardigans again, because that's the template for Baby Chocolat, and I can easily size it up and size it down. Okay. Get myself back around. This little striped number here. So that is from that book. And I love it because it's a side opening cardigan. It's knitted in pieces. It's super easy. And I had so much fun with this pattern because I would do things like this crazy striping with leftover yarns that I would have. I then decided that I didn't want it necessarily always. I think I'm just trying to find where I actually knitted one to the pattern. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So this is my little guy. So this is Mr. 14. I mean, this little bloke's now 14, just to put things. So there he is. Oh, bless his little heart. And that's him wearing a full outfit from this pattern book. So completed with little leggings from the book, booties from the book, that sweater from the book, and all of that is knitted in vintage DK. Absolutely loved it. And I just love that jumper so much. Oh my gosh, I did so many of them. And it was great. It was a side opening, and it was just a brilliant little doer. So then, as you saw, I would play around with stripes. And this is, again, I mean, I know I talk about this a lot, about the versatility of a pattern, but I think it's the importance of the versatility of a pattern. And then I got to the point where I thought, well, what would happen? This is now son number 2. This is Mr. 12. So I'd already sort of cut my teeth on the first one, and this is the second little guy. And what I did with him is I thought, well, I love that pattern so much, and you can see the shaping there. What happens if I were to move the side opening here and just turned it into a cardigan? And all I did was halve the fronts and did it. And I created this little cardigan. And then I got excited about some textured stitching. So then I would do the sleeves and this, what I call cheats moss textured stitching. And I had so much fun doing that too. And again, all of these are the same pattern, different variations. So if you've ever wondered where my love of variations comes from, that's probably the genesis of it. And a lot of it started back then. I mean, I see most of those patterns, most of those designs, I actually put up years after I wasn't aware of Revelry, really. And I put a whole heap of that up years after I'd knitted them into Revelry. So, I was relying on having those patterns. I was the pattern books that you would have. And so the ability to just quickly jump in and online and pull stuff up. I mean, you could still do it back in the day, but I just tended not to. And I would have that same favorite pattern, and I would knit it again and again and again and again and again. So, and I just love doing, I just love doing the modifications. And this is where I'm getting quite excited about playing around with these leftovers, because I've actually got one of these, mostly apart from all of this sitting at home. And that's the reason. I used probably just over a ball of Dragonfly for this cardigan. I used about probably 1 1/4 balls of Dragonfly, and almost on 12, I probably only had about 10-15 grams left out of 12 balls of the pulse for this, if you're wondering about quantities. But yes, so as I said, I've got most of a ball of that. I've got a couple of these rolling around. I've got a little bit of this left, and I just love the challenge of being able to use them up into something really amazing like that. And I have a bowl. I mean, how many of you have bowls or boxes or tubs of these little endy bits of yarn? I mean, I do actually gather mine up, to be fair, from time to time, and I quite often would save them for things like Knittleless Nights. Remember, you guys have seen the big bowls that I've had. If you've seen the bowls of yarn that I've had there for you to help yourself for projects. I have to admit, that's what I save a lot of mine for. But every now and then, I just love being able to dive into it and go, oh, what have I got in there? And I forgot about that. And it's like a trip down knitting memory lane. It's fun to do. So that's what I'm going to do next. Is I'm going to challenge myself to go back and do some baby knitting for these couple of babes that I want to do, that I've got sort of entering my looser sphere, and do some gift knitting. And then I need to make a decision about what I'm going to knit next. And I have to admit, I am feeling the hankering to do potentially some, I'm loving some of the vintage mail designs and classic cable designs and things like that. So I'm actually doing a hankering to do a mail sweater. And I know he doesn't watch this, so I can talk about it, because if he does, I'll be highly surprised. He never says he has. But my best friend, he has his birthday is in April, so I'm thinking I might knit something. I mean, we've only been BFFs for like 15 years, and I've knitted him hats and cowls and things, but I've never knitted him a sweater. And I know he would be quite partial to a very smart cabled Aran job So I think I might do that. That's the way I'm feeling at this particular point in time. Hope you enjoyed the newsletter I sent out on Monday with those free patterns. This week, today's newsletter is definitely going to have the twin set in there. And I'm also going to pop in, I did do off some other kids bits. I found, this is another one I found this morning. I'm still going through them. I've got such a massive box of this. This is a neat little doer for double knit. That will probably get scanned and go up, if not this week or next. But I am definitely going to throw one of these in, of this one. And I'm going to show you why in a second when I can find there it is, the image. What I'm going to do is I've got this book here. Oops. Babes and Brilliantine. Look at that. Oh, is that so 60s or what? I love it. The reason I'm going to do this one is because when I find it, there it is. It had, and it's got a number of them, a crochet set. And that's the thing, you know, there wasn't, I mean, when I've gone through a lot of these, most of them are all knit. And I'm not a crocheter primarily, but I know a number of you are. And this one, I took one look at that and thought, well, actually, even I could manage to crochet that. And that is it's very stylish, very simple. And I thought, right, I definitely need to send that one out. Utterly brilliant. And then there was also this guy here, and I think that's it. Is that it there? Yeah, and that's it there, just modelled on a wee babe. Isn't it gorgeous? So I'm going to do that one for you as well, because I think for those who like to hook their work as opposed to stitch it, I think that would be absolutely ideal. Absolutely ideal. Oh, Barbara, great idea. Next month's theme, baby knits using leftover bits and pieces. That is an excellent idea. Actually, I'm going to keep it really simple. I mean, next month, as you know, is Epic Sale. So, yes, because it's March next month. So it'll be pretty much epic. Last year, I think we called it Pimp My Stash. This year, I think we'll just simply call it Epic Sale. So anything that you pick up at the sale or you've picked up in previous Epic Sales, we're going to keep it simple, stupid, because you know what March is like around here. It's utterly bonkers. But the good news is that you've still got good deals to be had this month. So obviously vintage, $4.95 this month for both vintage and vintage abroad, 10 ply and DK. So that is going to be in the sale as well, but not at as good a price. Okay, so not as good a price. The best price for vintage is definitely this month. So if you're after your vintage, don't be waiting for the sale thinking, oh, Maree always does this and then she drops it. I can tell you right now, this month is the best month for vintage. Pretty much everything's going to be in the sale, so there'll be all sorts going in. However, the majority of really sizzling hot deals for the sale are going to be yarns that are yet to be seen. You do not want to go out to the warehouse at the moment. We have boxes upon boxes and cartons upon cartons, all full of yarn that have been done specifically just for the sale. So that's the nice thing about it. It will be going out specifically for sale, so you will not be missing out by getting other bits and pieces this month. So that's good to know. And we'll also be clearing, there's some few discontinued colours and a few other bits and bobs. So we'll be sorting those out as well. And little odds and ends. I've got a list of things from Deborah from Outlaw. I know you'll hear Deb. Deb sent us a list of a few bits and pieces that we will be putting in the sale from her, which we're really excited about. What else have we got coming? Yeah, it's really exciting. Like mohairs. I know you guys have been waiting for a mohair. So the one mohair, we've got 2 mohairs coming. So I don't know whether, I think I did mention this months ago. So we did this original mohair and the quality what we were after wasn't exactly quite right. So we took that batch and we've dyed it a range of colours. And in fact, we've dyed it a range of colours to go with a number of our 4-ply yarns. So we've done it to go with a number of our sock petition yarns, but also to a number, they will start tying back a bit with the Cascade lace and also some of the Flight DKs. So they're just a series of, if you're wanting to do multi-stranding for things like Love Note. But it is in 50 gram balls and it will be going out at a seriously sharp price. So that is the full range of it. Sale price, it is going to be gone. What else have I got sitting out there? I've got there's heaps, there's crazy and different DKs, there's some chunkies, there's some stuff that I really wasn't 100% sure of what it was that has come in. It is awesome. There is so much coming in. So they will be, in fact, they've all shot up to the photographer today. So if you're watching Steph, you'll probably get that tomorrow for you. And there is plenty. So this is probably lot 1. There'll probably be more coming in next week. So there's heaps. Now, the other thing that's gone up to Steph to be photographed is we've had some needles made. And I just wanted to show them to you because I think they're utterly amazing. Now, they're straights. And a lot of people still like to knit on straights. I like to knit on straights. And these are made from hardwood. And there we go. And there's the camera. Can you see that there? And so we've got these in, we've had them done in 3.25 millimeter, I think 3.25, 3.75, 4, 4.5, and 5, I think. Yeah, and these are the 5s. So just the really main colours. As you can see, they're a really nice length, beautiful hardwood, and they've all been hand-turned. Aren't they gorgeous? We're really pleased with these. These will be going up online as soon as the photos are done. And you'll be able to get these. And I think we've aimed to have them the same price as their others. They'll be $5.95 or thereabouts. These are incredible. I'm really, really delighted with those. So those will be going up. And I just think they're really pretty. Are they really pretty? I think they're gorgeous. So we're absolutely thrilled with them. So watch out for those. So they'll definitely be up and ready in time for sale or before. What else have we got coming out? As I said, Lynn, if you're just tuning in late, Lynn Walsh is here this weekend. If you're around for Art Deco weekend, even though Art Deco weekend isn't happening, do come in and see us. Lynn's setting up tonight. She'll be here all day tomorrow, 10 till 3:30, and Saturday from 10 till 1. More time to knit and extra hands and that in the sale. No, Margaret. Wow, I know. Only if we could sell more time and extra hands. I know. Oh, Patricia, newbie to your March sales. Are they available online? Patricia, that is an excellent question. Yes. So the short answer to that is yes, it is available online. So the sale, I'll tell you the dates next week. Next week? Maybe the week after. It's a few weeks. It is still a few weeks away. It's not. If you remember last year, we started on the 28th. Was it the 29th of February? Because it was Leap Day. It's a little bit further down the track this time. And yes, it is available online. It is full on. So it starts. You'll get plenty of notice when things start. It is pretty intense. In fact, I was on the phone with our content management provider for our website yesterday because last year so many of you jumped on our website. Our poor website just went, we can't do this anymore, and I don't want that to happen again this year. So I've had a very full and frank discussion with them, and we are putting measures into place so that hopefully won't happen. And yes, it is online, and it will be running for actually just over 2 weeks. So I can tell you that it'll be running across 3 weekends and 2 full weeks. So you've got tons of time. We've got so much stock coming in from the mill that we will have stock moving through the entire time. So that's why we're running it for such a good length of time. And honestly, there is so much stuff. There is everything and anything and all bits in between. So there is also a good amount of stock as well. If you are local or you're thinking of making a little road trip across to us, that is definitely worthwhile. And I know a number of you do. do it, because there is a good amount of stock that we don't actually put on the website. And that's due to a variety of reasons. Mostly it's because we only have a limited amount of it. So anything that's less than a couple of kilos, we don't put online because it just sells out too quickly, and then we get things will sell out faster than our website can refresh. So it's just easier to have those smaller amounts just in store. But it means that in store is like a treasure trove. Like there'll be all these wonderful little quirky bits and pieces that you can only get in store. And a really classic example of that, actually, if you're wanting to travel, are our incognito yarns. We've had a number of them online, but we've got an American brand that's hiding in disguise in at the moment. And actually the vast majority of that stock is just here in store because we've only got that stock in really small amounts. I mean, I've got a beautiful basket of wooden tub that's just gone out today of beautiful woolen spun rustic tweedy 4-ply, all in various natural shades. Like it is, I mean, it's probably going to get raided by me before long, but it is utterly divine. But we've only got like either single hanks or one or two hanks of each one, so it's pointless having that on the shop online, but we have got it in the shop at a special price. So those are the sorts of little treasures, if you do make the effort to come over, those are the sorts of little treasures you can get when you pop over and see us in person. So if you're able to make the trip, we would so love to see you. I think that's about me, isn't it? I think so. I'm actually itching to cast on something new. I think that'd be really fun. So thanks for joining us today. And as I said, Lynn will be here this weekend, tomorrow and the next day. I will be back next week. Still plenty to talk about next week, I'm sure. I'll be more vintage inspiration, and keep up the vintage inspiration on the Skeinz Speakeasy. Loving what's being posted there, just loving it. It's fabulous. So have an awesome weekend, and until then, I will see you on Monday. Bye.